Monday morning and welcome to KSAT News Now. We're streaming, we're podcasting daily. Thanks for spending your morning with us. And the team is back.
Yes,
RJ Marquez
the whole
is
crew.
back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Got to go home for a little bit, spend some time with some family, see some cousins, stuff I hadn't seen in a long time. So it's good to be back to a little bit of normalcy. But yeah, Alyssa, we got going on here producing as usual, and then you have been very busy because you were in Uvalde for a couple of days, right? And then we did not have KSAT News Now on Friday. So yeah, it's
back to normal.
The whole squad, the whole crew is back.
The squad is back, and we're keeping you informed today and for the rest of the week.
Absolutely, yeah. So this morning, of course, we're going to get to a lot of different things. We're going to discuss a interesting document that was posted on Reddit about a high-speed tunnel from Austin to San Antonio. So this is some stuff that has been surfacing for a little while now, but whether this is true or not, I don't know. We'll try and figure this out as we go along.
And also, San Antonio, we're home to the National Spelling Bee winner. We got a champ.
We do. A couple of, so we'll talk about this young lady here in just a bit. And basically, this spelling bee competition is kind of crazy. I'd never seen this before in any sort of spelling bee, kind of the speed round thing. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. Plus efforts, of course, continue to tighten gun control laws across the country.
Yeah, so we have some hard news to get to, but first today, 9-year-old Eliana Garcia will be laid to rest. Eliana is from Uvalde, and she's one of the 19 children that died during that mass shooting. And we know that she loved the movie Encanto, she loved sports, and videos shared by her dad showed that she loved to dance with her siblings. Eliana would have turned 10 years old over the weekend. Yeah,
very heartbreaking. So over the weekend, family and friends gathered yesterday to say a final goodbye to a 10-year-old Alicia Haven Ramirez, who dreamt of attending an art school in Paris. And on Saturday morning, 10-year-old McKenna Lee Elrod was also laid to rest. McKenna loved animals and was part of the 4-H club. And along with singing and dancing, she also loved to play softball.
And, you know, with these children, it's so important, and the two teachers as well, to learn more of who they were and these interests, right? We've seen their pictures, and we talked about it when it first happened, that our commitment here, and for many journalists, is to get to know these children and honor them in those ways. And here in San Antonio, these children and their teachers were honored over the weekend as hundreds gathered at Travis Park in support of the victims and the families of the Uvalde mass shooting. So that was with the Stand With Uvalde benefit rally, and it was done on Saturday.
Right, here in San Antonio to raise funds for families of the shooting victims, but also to call on leaders to make a change to keep kids safe.
So in attendance, hundreds of people, but some of the keynote speakers were Congressman Joaquin Castro, former Mayor Julian Castro, Voto Latino's President Maria Teresa Kumar, and Spurs head coach Greg Popovich were in attendance. And we know that Pop does not keep quiet, and this was one of those moments where he really used his platform and used his voice.
Right, so obviously Greg Popovich has been very outspoken when it comes to, a lot of national things happening, especially when it comes to mass shootings and gun violence. So I was very interested to hear what Pop had to say, especially because we had not heard from Greg Popovich of course, the Spurs season is over, so really there has been no need for him to do anything media-wise. He stays pretty private in the offseason, but obviously this is an issue that really kind of tugs at the heart for the Spurs head coach, so it was good to kind of hear Pop talk a little bit about, what he feels needs to be done in order to kind of curb this.
Yeah, so he said enough is enough and urged everyone to register to vote to enact change, and that was the point of that rally as well. It was hosted by Voto Latino, and what they want to do is encourage Latinos around the nation to register to vote and to actually get out there and vote. So that was the promise made this weekend for those in attendance or those supporting this effort to register to vote and really let your elected officials know where you stand when it comes to gun control, safety of children, and specifically now looking into this Robb Elementary shooting that we're still finding a lot of details about.
Yeah, and we were talking about the funerals and these rallies, and as you learn more details, just it becomes more heartbreaking. We talked about the children, the funerals that have been taking place there, and basically more people kind of speaking out. And sticking with Robb Elementary this morning, Alicia, there's been a lot of discussion on what the future holds for that school. And in case you missed it, it will no longer operate as a school, after a special meeting of in Uvalde there.
Yeah, so that was with the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District, and on Friday the board addressed that issue of the school and other topics on Friday night. And although the agenda for Friday's meeting allowed the board to terminate embattled police chief Pete Arredondo, the board actually declined to do so. So he keeps his job as of now. Right,
and this comes as many residents have called on Arredondo to quit or to basically resign, possibly be fired as well, which means that to be removed from the job, saying that his decisive action his indecisiveness there also could have potentially saved lives.
So here's what people are referring to. As incident commander, Arredondo made the decision to wait more than an hour for backup instead of ordering officers at the scene to immediately confront the shooter, who eventually went on to kill 19 students and 2 teachers. And this is parents, were waiting outside and urging these police officers to do their job and go ahead. And I actually did speak to several residents. It's important to understand that for the Uvalde community, it is so tough to speak out right now. They are heartbroken, they are worried, they fear for their jobs if they speak out. But a lot of them off camera told me that, yeah, they want him to step down, and absolutely they do not want Robb Elementary to be opened as a school and for these kids to go back, for these teachers to go back. And I asked them, well, what do you want what would you like Robb Elementary to become? And of course they want a memorial. They want a memorial for these children, not just for the 19 kids, also for those 2 teachers, but really to honor those survivors too, as they are traumatized, and they will be dealing with the effects of that for years to come.
I think, you think about the past week or so, week and a half, and just the grieving and the mourning that is going on in that community. And then there are still the questions with the police chief there. There's still a lot of details that we're still trying to learn, figure out about just the process of, it's a small town, so it's a little bit of the small town politics at play. And so there's just a lot, and you cannot imagine just what everyone there is going through. Like you said, people are torn because maybe they know Mr. Arredondo, maybe they don't, maybe they want him to step down, others saying, maybe he shouldn't. So I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot going on, and just continue to kind of pray for people there in Uvalde for sure.
Absolutely, and the president had some words to say following this mass shooting, and really when it comes to gun control. Let's take a listen.
We need to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. And if we can't ban assault weapons, then we should raise the age to purchase them from 18 to 21. Strengthen background checks. Enact safe storage law and red flag laws. Repeal the immunity that protects gun manufacturers from liability. Address the mental health crisis, deepening the trauma of gun violence and as a consequence of that violence.
Yeah, so President Biden speaking there, and this basically comes as we have now seen more mass shootings across the country over the weekend, and key U.S. senators are now saying that there is momentum for a bipartisan response from Congress that could toughen federal gun laws for the first time in a generation.
So these talks are expected to continue for several days as negotiators look to get enough Republican support to get a compromise bill through the Senate. And RJ, you mentioned the mass shootings that happened over the weekend. My goodness, just getting those alerts and reading the updates, really my thought goes to another one.
I know.
Again?
It's heartbreaking to see, and also kind of in a weird way, like you feel like you expect these now, almost like every week. There's no sort of, I don't want to say there's no surprise, but at the same time, you just continue to see them happening. You're just wondering what is going on here. So the Washington Post is reporting this morning that a proposal to tighten these gun laws would encourage states to set up red flag laws that would allow authorities to keep guns away from people thought to be a threat to their communities or themselves. And this is being discussed, as well as, of course, measures to tackle school security and mental health.
So CNN reports that since Friday, so just over the weekend, there have been at least 8 mass shootings in America, including in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where 3 people were killed and 14 were shot in a nightclub.
And the other big one from over the weekend in Philadelphia, police are still searching for several gunmen that left 3 people dead and injured 11 others. And you were just talking about that. I mean, you get these alerts of these incidents that are taking place. There was also the mass shooting in Tulsa. And then, you know, even before Uvalde, there was the supermarket mass shooting as well that was targeting that African American community there in Buffalo. So, you know, you hope that common sense will prevail over all of this, because there definitely needs to be something done on a federal level. So you just hope that you could put politics aside and get something done in Congress.
You know, one of the parents for one of the victims in Uvalde, she's been sharing more of her thought process following the death of her child. And I think it's testimonies like hers that we really need to be paying attention to, because these are the families who are dealing with it firsthand. And they wish they could have done anything to prevent this. And unfortunately, that man had the ability to go purchase this firearm and destroy a community, and he has destroyed Uvalde. But that community standing together, you know, asking for prayers still, but really what they want is for the nation to honor these children and teachers, but for something to be done.
Yeah, and definitely. And I believe one of the Uvalde grade schoolers is going to be in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, right?
Yes, I believe it's either tomorrow or Wednesday.
Okay.
Lee Waldman, our reporter, who's one of the first ones out there on the scene when this was all unfolding that Tuesday, she'll be making the trip over to Washington. So please expect for KSAT to have coverage on that and update you that, being right there with that
absolutely.
family.
This is a huge national conversation, so we will continue to follow the latest developments there. Switching gears this morning, and I guess you could say maybe even going into high gear, there's a new document that's been posted on Reddit that allegedly details plans for an underground high-speed tunnel from Austin to San Antonio.
Can anyone go? Would anyone be able to go? Because sign me up. I really want one from San Antonio to Dallas. Why don't we just stretch it all the way? So the emails from August 2021 are reportedly from Elon Musk, the Boring Company, but it's not clear if this project is in the works or it's being pursued. So
all right, so
is it real? We don't know.
Yeah. So here's the deal. So a man who lives next door to the Boring Company test site in Bastrop County got the document as part of the public information request through the city of Kyle and actually posted this whole plan on Reddit.
So there are also details in there about proposed tunnels in Kyle, New Braunfels, and San Marcos. So, I mean, maybe.
Well, I feel like if these tunnels were maybe being built, that people may have already noticed this already. I mean, this is about there we have the document right there for people that are watching us on the visual side of things here at KSAT News Now.
TBC's secret plan.
Yeah, there we go. Secret plan. They even have to call it the secret plan.
Not so secret now.
I feel if these underground tunnels were being built at the moment, then people would probably notice that, especially.
Well, it takes a lot for it to actually,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it, right, when these bonds pass or, you know, they promise the streets will be repaired and people have to wait years for that. But, I mean, money talks, so.
Yeah, so this will be interesting. And you're saying you're all in on some sort of high-speed underground.
Hold up. All in on, I mean, would I support it? Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that means more jobs, probably going to help with traffic,
Right.
which I think we're all up to here with. And it just gets worse and worse as cities
Especially
grow.
in I-35.
And then we know San
I-35 is
Antonio.
rough. Yeah.
We know San Antonio is one of the fastest growing cities. So.
Yeah.
And then Austin is always a headache.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Interesting.
Better for the environment.
Oh, yes.
To have a tunnel.
Yes.
Instead of all these cars going.
It's a very interesting perspective. Hadn't really
No,
thought
it's
about
true,
that.
though. Yeah. Well, where are we going?
Yeah.
We're going to Spelling Bee. All right, so a San Antonio 14-year-old was crowned champion of the 2022 Scripps National Spelling Bee. This happened last Thursday, but we still want to talk about it here
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we are impressed.
Yes, definitely. Shout out to Harini Logan. She's an 8th grader from the Montessori School of San Antonio. So she won the title, get this, after spelling 22 words correctly in 90 seconds during the final spell off lightning round. I couldn't even say spell off lightning round, and she spelled 22 words.
And I think the second place, is there a second place? Well,
There is, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think he only got only, right?
Yeah, I
couldn't
know,
even
right?
do that. 15. So the spell off between Logan and the other finalists was the first in the spelling bee's 94-year history, and it came after 18 rounds of traditional competition.
Yeah, wow.
My goodness.
Just grueling there to go through that and then have to do this
man.
spell off here. So the winning word, I wanted to
Okay.
test your spelling knowledge here,
Man,
Alicia.
and
You
I
ready
had
to
a
go?
word here too. And I closed.
Okay, so the winning word was moorhen. Can you spell it? Moorhen. Moorhen? Moorhen.
Moorhen or Morin?
Moorhen.
What's the origin?
Oh, see, you can't even ask that
can't
during
even
that
ask what the origin
during that whole spell off thing.
Okay,
You
I
can
got
ask for
one
the
for you
origin.
guys. That's
Hold on,
pretty
Moorhen.
easy.
Moorhen. Moorhen.
Oh, close, so close. Moorhen.
I wonder if
You
that's
almost
how
got
you, because you said you didn't
All right,
even
y'all
know
ready?
I
Moorhen or
gave you
Morin.
the exact pronunciation.
Do
yes.
this one. Meteorology.
Oh. You want to try it?
You try it. It's your
Okay.
turn, RJ.
Meteorology.
Boom!
Boom.
Meteorology.
Third
Origin,
grade. Third grade.
Latin.
Third grade spelling bee
Meaning,
champ.
Sarah. Weather.
Meaning,
Weather
period.
person. But
Congrats,
hey,
Irini.
guys, you know what? Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Still heat
Yeah.
advisory.
Yeah,
Okay.
or hot.
HEATADVISORY, heat advisory. Heat advisory in place today from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. We are in the middle of an early season heat wave. The heat advisory is in place because this is what the peak heat index value is going to be across the metro area this afternoon. Heat index values ranging anywhere from 100 to 110. This is late August temperatures in early June. And what's more is we're expected to see several triple-digit days in a row here. It is not looking good for summer for us, unfortunately. Here's the rest of your day, your KSAT 12-hour forecast. In the next couple of hours, we're going to see temperatures get into the 90s. We'll be at 97 by 2 p.m. For the afternoon, the high temperature is going to be 103 in San Antonio. Now, one of our saving graces for the day today is that we are going to have a bit of a breeze. Winds will continue to be from the south at 15 to 20, gusting up to about 30 miles per hour or so. So it's going to be hot, but if you can be in the shade, at least there's going to be a breeze. And then late tonight, temperatures are still going to be in the 80s, but it should feel okay outside with that breeze, a little bit less humidity out there in the evening hours. But this guy is not our friend, okay? This heat high, this dome of high pressure compresses the air, prevents showers and storms from developing, and whenever you have compressed air, it causes the temperature to go up too. And so look at this forecast over the next several days. Every single day here, we're going to see temperatures some 10 degrees above average. Average high this time of year is 91. We're going to be at 103 today, 102 Tuesday, 101 Wednesday, 101 Thursday, 102 Friday, 103 Saturday and Sunday of this upcoming weekend. We could potentially have one of the longest stretches of triple-digit weather ever in San Antonio's history, and we're not in August. We're in early June. So this is something that we're hot because of a couple of things, a couple of reasons. It's La Nina, a weather pattern that typically produces drier and hotter conditions. But the thing that's sending us over the edge is climate change. So in the past decades, since 1970, we've had 37-degree days above normal. So it's getting hotter in San Antonio in the summer months because of climate change. Again, a very hot forecast for us. Only chance for rain is Saturday, and the chance is only 10%. So a hot forecast for us. Please try to stay cool. You know, today is also a day where we're remembering D-Day. It's the 78th anniversary of the invasion of the beaches of Normandy. And believe it or not, what's really fascinating is that the weather and the weather forecast played a big role. On KSAT.com right now, I did an explainer about how the weather has had impacted D-Day and actually allowed for the Allied forces to come away with a victory that day. It's a really fascinating scenario. Make sure to check it out. It's on KSAT.com right now. It's fascinating how even when meteorology was in its infancy, it really helped change the course of history through D-Day. So hopefully you'll check that out. And guys, please try to find a way to stay cool. It is just hot outside.
RJ, so I did the same thing I did a few weeks ago, but see, it's so important, and that's why we need to have that KSAT weather app. The window, usually I think, the hottest time of the day is around 4 or 5-ish, but that big window, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., right? Well, yesterday I did it again. Please don't do it. I did have my electrolytes, but I went running again,
I don't
3
know why you
miles.
do that.
And I could.
It's during the middle of the day, yeah.
So I don't know if you can still hear Sarah Spivey, but she said she went running this morning and it was still, it was fine. Well, let me tell you, I went around 1 p.m. yesterday.
Oh, man.
Not okay. Couldn't even finish. But I did have electrolytes before and then after, so usually double the dose. But my goodness, please be safe out there, especially for those, if you have any family members, friends who work in the outdoors, check on them, because it's not just about drinking water at this point. Like you really need to have a game plan. I feel like it's when you train for a marathon, like you have your electrolytes, your meal packets, just everything to keep your body going, because it takes a beating when it's outdoors.
Yeah, and based on those temperatures right there, we know that there's going to be a big demand for energy usage as well. So just kind of be prepared. We obviously know ERCOT probably be sending out some alerts or information as far as, when it comes to AC and everything. So yeah, just as Alicia said, be prepared. And, it feels so weird because I used to do that in the past. I used to try and go run during the middle of the day, but it feels like the air kind of suffocates you a little bit.
Yeah, no, it does.
Right? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Can confirm. Can confirm. So
I usually go after like 8 now. And usually like in a trail
in the morning or in the
there's some
evening,
shade.
which is the smartest thing to do. Unfortunately, I didn't do that yesterday. But sticking with that, if you are in need to just cool down, perhaps you don't have central air, or CPS has already sent their advisories. There are cooling centers all around the city, one of those being the libraries, and they have really great programs for the kids, even for teenagers. So if you're looking for somewhere to keep cool and still keep busy, the library would be a good one.
Yeah,
RJ,
definitely.
There's some celebrations going on.
Yeah, so we were talking about Harini Logan, the San Antonio Spelling Bee champion. So shout out to her, doing the most there. But also wanted to give a shout out to the O'Connor softball team, because they have won the school's first Class 6A state championship. So shout out to the Panthers. And so this was a great game there up in Austin. They basically had to come back. They were down a run, and then Jada Munoz hit a game-tying solo home run there. So Jada, get the big hero there, and then AJ Sanchez drew the game-winning bases-loaded walk as the Panthers win the 6A title over Lake Ridge. So congratulations to those young women there. I mean, you're talking about being out in the heat.
Yeah.
They've been working. They've been working hard for this.
Yeah, there's no days off for them. The only thing they're missing in their celebration was probably some stick figure sports.
Oh man, we could have done that. Yes,
we
could have
done
brought back
that. You could have done it
for these young ladies there. Also want to mention Reagan, the Rattlers are back in the state final. That is the boys baseball team there. And you know what? Texas State taking on Stanford tonight for a chance to move on to the Super Regional. Go Bobcats.
Go
Baseball.
Bobcats. For today.
I always got to give a shout out to Texas State,
as it
sure.
should be.
Yeah,
well, thank you so much for tuning in or for listening on the podcast. Remember, we will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Be safe and stay hydrated.